Yeah, that was a very unclassy podcast. That was the least classy podcast we've done. Uh, I don't remember. It's, I wouldn't be surprised. No, he's not. Okay. Uh, I don't think we've ever said it on the podcast. I don't want to. Yeah, I can tell you after. Yeah, let me go ahead and send this out to a couple people. The link, and also I'll get you the link too. Put it in general. Yeah. Okay, I'll look at the chat. All right. I would really like it if I could have the link to the podcast before it starts. That would be really nice. And then, yeah, I need. Yeah, I need to get like a new monitor at some point that'll actually work. I do have two monitors, but it doesn't have an attachment to my graphics card, so I'm kind of screwed there on um that degree, I guess. Anyway, so welcome to the next ED podcast. We're here. It's just Luke and Luke. It's Luke squared today. Yeah, yeah, Luke squared. If we can find another Luke to join, I don't. I mean, I know a lot of Lukes, so it's Matt. Yeah, yeah. So what? So this is about like the seventh episode, I think, of the Sweatered Podcast, and four of those episodes are garbage and unprofessional, and yeah, yeah. Before we started the actual channel, I mean, if you really want, I don't even want people to watch them, so I'm not gonna tell them where to find them, but you can find them. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to get rid of all those episodes at some point. Yeah. I'm not too worried about it right now though. So anyway, so yes, it's 8:40 in the evening here in the Midwest, and also in Florida, because that's how time zones work. Mm-hmm. I did not. It was okay. I'll take your word for it. Golden Trump statue. What the hell are they thinking there? Oh, wait a second. Gosh, let me make sure. You are so quiet. You are so quiet. Let me Gosh. Okay. Whoopsie doopsie. It's on OBS's end. I forgot. I have to do a audio effect. Yeah. No. It's. I have to open up this application called Pulse Effects, and then yeah, and then I have to make the Pulse Effects app run your audio. Um, so let's see if go ahead and try to talk a bit. This isn't working too well so far. Talk more. Test. One, two, three.
Collard.
Here we go. Here we go.
We're
Okay.
good. We're live.
You work now. Yep.
I'm working.
Your audio works now. Okay.
That's a
We
blessing.
are watching the chat this stream. I will be watching the chat just to.
Whoever's in chat will be managing it. If
Yeah.
anyone drops, you know what? We actually have a new rule. If you drop a super chat, we'll add you to the call for
Drop a
as
super
many
chat. Sure.
dollars to minute
We
ratio.
don't
Yeah.
we don't have a super chat, so
if you type in chat how much you would donate and Venmo one of us, it will come to the
Venmo,
super
yeah.
chat.
Send it to my Cash App.
You know how funny? I wonder, like, if there could ever be a Discord plugin for that, like a crazy like
Gee. There
podcast where
probably.
people donate in chat, and for every dollar they spend, they get a second, like
I'm
in
sure
the
there
call.
is.
So everyone's rotating in and out of the call, trying to yell stuff.
Oh boy, that sounds like a bad idea.
Sounds like a worse
That
clubhouse.
sounds like a terrible idea. Anyway, yeah. So I guess we might as well get into something. I wanted to talk about Mr. Potato Head, I guess.
It's a good one.
This is like such a stupid controversy. Okay, Lewis, I don't.
What's he saying,
What?
chat?
He says brown. He's just saying that over and over again. I don't understand why they want me to look at chat when this is the shit they're putting on there.
Well, give him something. They watch every time.
Oh, is it because you're talking about because we're talking about Mr. Potato Head, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so
I don't see stuff in the chat, but maybe that's just my end.
I mean I see it. Maybe
Live chat. Live chat,
yeah,
I see.
yeah. So anyway, yeah, Mr. Potato Head. They're dropping the Mr. off of Mr. Potato Head, and people are like, you know, there are these like pseudo conservatives or whatever that are like, Mr. Potato Head was like, you know, this is
He was
obstruction of this is obstruction of the gender binary, and they're trying to turn all the kids gay, and it's like, no, they're not. They're just, there's multiple potato heads out there. Why is the brand supposed to be Mr. Potato Head? Anyway, Mr. Potato Head was never a bastion of the gender binary. In fact, I think that Mr. Potato Head was probably one of the most destructive forces towards the gender binary. Because I mean,
you can switch it.
You can switch it. Yeah, you buy the Mr. and the Mrs. Potato Head. You can give it Mrs. Potato Head eyes, and then like Mr. Potato Head mouth and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, like this isn't like.
Why did they come out and announce it? We've already known it. We just kept it on the down low so people wouldn't freak out.
Exactly. Like honestly,
they
like,
just brought attention to what's already there.
Why is this a huge problem? It's literally just like, okay, it's just Potato Head now. It's just Potato Head. Whatever.
Just Potato Head.
Whatever.
They should have, you know what they should have done, which would I don't know, it wouldn't have been that funny, but they should have just like hyped it up and had a bunch of pre-orders and then just shipped out regular potatoes. Yeah. Would have been like a reverse troll. Go the lefties order potatoes.
That's actually what Mr. Potato Head used to be. They would only
just a potato.
Yeah, they would supply the eyes and then like the mouth and the nose and stuff, and you'd get your own vegetables. And so you could put it on like a cucumber, or you could put it on like a potato or whatever. And you could have like a, you know, like a regular potato with like googly eyes or some bullshit, you know.
It's just goofy. I don't know why anyone really cares.
I think they probably stopped that around the Irish potato famine.
Play with your potatoes.
That's when they made the fake potato.
Kid get bonked over the head.
I remember back in the Irish potato famine, we used to eat potatoes, Mr. Potato Heads, because that was the only type of potato that we could have. All the other ones were moldy from the water mouse, and you couldn't eat any potatoes.
The potatoes.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's when they'd have off brands. They're like, all right, kids, we gotta eat the potatoes. They bring in, you got Mr. Carrot Head, you got Mrs. Cucumber, you got everything. Mix it up.
I remember back in 2016, and actually like even back towards the Gamergate to like the whole like anti-feminism thing, right? The reason why that was like a movement is because like there were a lot of people that were just like very loud and very crazy. You know, they were saying these wacky things, like, you know, we need to take sexy clothes out of video games. We need to make it so that every video game has like a female lead character or something like that. And it's like, why can't you just have like a video game be a video game and like have people decide, you know, what
well, and it wasn't just like that, but they were like calling on other companies to do it. Like, if you want to do that, like, go do it in your own like company, but don't like go lobby. Like, don't go to Activision Treyarch and be like, you have to make World War II history with women in it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, do it in your, if you want to do it in your own company. I mean, that's how you got to do it.
Exactly.
Don't lobby other people to do it.
And like stop like canceling video games because like the female characters have big tits. So what? Or there's an option to give your female character big tits. Like, who cares? And that's the reason why the whole like anti-feminism thing worked for a while. But now it's like equally crazy where like literally any single time that somebody takes out like a gender specific pronoun or a gender specific word, now people are like crying out like, oh, they're trying to, you know, destroy the fucking Judeo-Christian values that we've been raised up with. And it's not that. It's like, it's literally just a branding thing at this point, and it doesn't matter.
It's capitalism. It's late game capitalism.
It really, it does not fucking matter.
It's late stage capitalism. That's what we're in.
Yeah, and it's really it's flipped to the point where like now conservatives, like, or at least like hardcore conservatives, are more, if not just as annoying as the whole like bleeding heart liberals from 2008 to 2012. You know,
it hasn't hit that for me, but it could. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, for me,
I think for me, most of it's just I think everyone wants to like be this social media star now.
Yeah.
When you look at a lot of people, so they're like, oh, this is the next thing, and everyone has to like hop on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes like more of a thing than what it needs to be. Because like you get on, there's like millions and millions of these like conservative accounts or whatever, and all of them will just say like the same thing. Like, I mean, I only follow like one or two because all of them will say the same thing. I know, like, I don't need 100 people to tell me about Mr. and Miss Potato Head. Like, you know, like,
I mean, it's just like the whole overreaction thing. I mean, like, there's a ton of overreaction. There used to be a ton of overreaction on the left, and there still is a lot of overreaction on the left. But it's getting the,
I think
to be
it's
the
just
same
there's
thing
more
with the right.
voices than what there were.
It's still
like my opinion.
Yeah, it's still that way with the right now, and like, I mean, it's hard to say that like you're a right winger when all the people in the right wing are just like fucking insane. Like, I mean, Pizzagate is a good example of that. You know, there are still people that believe in Pizzagate.
I'm not a right winger. I'm part of that Q movement.
Yeah, the QAnon people are there, and like it gets even weirder. And
that's my section.
I do want to talk about this at some point when Ellen's on the podcast, since he's Catholic too. Like, there's a lot of like weird religious extremism where everybody thinks that they're under attack by like the you know, the government or something, and they're gonna try to like oppress Catholics and shit. And I do want to talk about that with Ellen, because I think he's going to have a lot of interesting things to say about that, since he's also Catholic. And he lives in that environment too. But
I see it as well, but it's not too much overreaction. A lot of it's just a lot of people like realizing stuff, and then some of them like take it to the extreme, and then like now a lot of them are like, yeah, maybe it's not like that, but it's kind of like this. It's like there's some issues, but not revelations yet. So we got a bit.
I really like. I understand that there's a lot of like annoyance at the whole assault against the gender binary. Like, it's annoying when people are saying like, hey, use this pronoun for me, and if you don't, then you're a fucking like, you know, transphobe or whatever. That's like super annoying for sure, and I totally get that. But it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
Well, I think the conservative argument is like the slippery slope, like, which some people call a fallacy, and sometimes it is.
Yeah.
But after the Potato Head thing, California went ahead and passed a law that stores will be fined if they don't have like gender neutral aisles.
Weird. Aisles?
Like toy aisles. Yeah, so like toy aisles, if you don't have like there's a boys and a girls, and there either needs to be a neutral one, or I think you can't have a boys and a girls, it'd be like mixed. Okay. I believe it's in California, but California's pretty wacky. I mean, they did try and repeal civil rights laws recently.
I don't see how that's like a slippery slope. It doesn't seem like something that's like.
It's just more of like it's going to infect your kids.
It's not infecting anything though. It's literally just saying like okay, you have a boys section and a girls section. You should also have a section that is unisex. And it's a stupid law to have. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think it's $1,000 fine.
I mean, like, that's stupid, but at the same time, like, I don't really care. It's not infecting people with like, you know, gender bias or whatever, or like you know.
Yes, I found it. It says California law would fine department stores $1,000 for separating toys by gender.
Okay, so it's just generally separating toys by gender is the fine. Like,
it's a weird law.
It is a weird law.
I'm not gonna try and extract any logic
I'm not gonna try to say like. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that that's like trying to influence kids to buy into like some weird gender binary thing. You know, like that's just like. It's kind of absurd, but it's definitely like a weird law to have. It's like, why would you want that law?
Just needs to be whatever the stores want to do.
It really is, yeah. It really is. It does seem to be on that level. I mean, it definitely is on that level of trying to push a certain narrative, and yeah, I mean, like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think people are like afraid of, because then it's like, oh, now they're doing this. What's next? You know,
but
then
like,
it keeps inflating and inflating.
Yeah, I mean, but what is it that people are afraid of? Like,
I guess just if kids have to go to school and they're told you're not a boy or whatever when you are. I mean, I guess that's what the fear is. Just extreme.
Yeah.
Which isn't easy when you also have pop stars and stuff coming out. Like when you have Demi Lovato comes out and says, if you're a boy, you can have a vagina, and if you're a woman, you can have a penis.
Yeah, and so I think that like what a lot of people don't realize is that it is a lot more of a complicated argument behind the whole like.
Well, it's one children shouldn't be having. Is kind of the gist of it. It's not one that like they should be thrown into so early.
I think there's a couple interesting things about it, because we do know like gender isn't determined by your genitalia. That's sex, right? So what we essentially have is like gender is this thing where it is an expression of external characteristics that are expressed as either male or female, and there's a whole spectrum in the middle, right? And there are people that, and this is also true in biology too. There are people that have biologically masculine characteristic and biologically extreme feminine characteristics, and there's a lot of people in the middle. And there's a couple things that are weird to me, like what does that mean to have like an extreme masculine biological gender expression and an extreme feminine biological gender expression? I don't really understand what that's supposed to mean. And
like what the pinnacle of that looks like?
Yeah, like what is the extreme of a masculine gender like body type? Is that like some big buff dude with like huge muscles, or is that like a really
I think it's
tall,
more gonna be like this like shoulder
dude,
and like weight distribution.
Yeah, broad shoulders, weight distribution.
Yeah.
I get that.
I think it's more in like the weight distribution, which is kind of hard to like. I think that's the only thing you could define it as.
But there's also other things like you know, having a beard, chest hair, you know,
that's pretty unique.
Chest hair, you know, like a lot of arm hair and stuff like that. I mean.
Monkey.
But those are also things that like women can also have facial hair. Women can also have, you know, chest hair. Like those are all things that women can have.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a whole lot of women that have mustaches.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. It actually, fun fact, it used to be an attractive attribute to have for a woman to have a mustache.
When was this?
In Greece? Sometime in the 1800s or something like that, actually.
That sounds like a scary time to be alive.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like, the attraction is like a really finicky thing. It changes a lot all throughout the years, and like it comes to a lot of things like status and stuff like that. And those are weird things. And I think like I definitely do want to get more in depth on this whole like gender thing, but I'm definitely not in a place where I can make a solid enough argument towards one side or the other. But I think it is important that people understand that this is a lot more complicated issue than they actually make it out to be. It's not as simple as saying you have a penis or you have a vagina and you know then you're a man or a female. I think like the big thing is to question, should we be defining people by gender? Should we be defining people by sex? And what does that necessarily imply?
But I think the worry for a lot of people is they're going to be letting kids make the decision, which is what should be happening. I mean, at a young age, when in a lot of these states at 14 or 16, without parental permission, you can go to the doctor and get like hormone therapy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what they mean when they say like it's a slippery slope. Like once it becomes culturally accepted, now you get laws where you don't even have to have like a parent's permission to like go get stuff changed. And you're just too young. I mean, like even 18, it's like, I mean, I'm for doing whatever you want at 18, but even 18, it's like to make a decision of that magnitude. Especially when like the public conversation is so like colluded and there's like two sides fighting, so no one can even get like, you don't know like if your doctor has an opinion or your therapist or whoever you want to talk to, because everyone kind of has an agenda with it.
I think and there's a lot of interesting things about that too, because it is also a mental health issue, for sure.
Yeah, whether people want to address it or not. I mean, there's a lot of people that just are in a bad spot at the time, and then they read something like, oh, maybe I'm this, you know? And that's what happens.
And not only that, but like if somebody is literally mentally like transgender for whatever reason, avoiding that can actually be a pretty bad thing, like a pretty negative thing for them throughout their life. Um,
Sure.
in addition to that, like um, the opposite is true. If somebody thinks like is pressured into becoming transgender or something, and then they end up taking hormone therapy or something by their parents, you know, like they're pressured in by their parents or their friends or something. They if they
Which
take
is what I feel
yeah,
a lot of people on the right are like worried about, and you do
yeah,
see some of that. I mean, those are
and,
like a lot of stories that are suppressed. Like there's subreddits that were about that, like people that had regrets, and they're like flat out banned. Like you
mhm.
can't have those discussions.
I think there's definitely like a worrisome thing toward that. Um, and I mean, that's definitely a concern. But there's also the idea like if this person is legitimately transgender, how likely is that's going to hold through for the rest of their life, and how much are they going to actually be damaged if they do go through this hormone therapy? And I don't know if there's how much conclusive research there is for one side or the other of that.
Not a lot. There's some
But
interesting stuff I could send you
yeah,
that's showing. I saw on Joe Rogan
hmm
um, that a lot of like women are like transitioning into men, but they're doing it in like cliques.
yeah,
So at school, maybe you've seen it. There'll be like 3 or 4 of them, and they'll all decide as like a friend group. When in reality, what this is it's like a lot of anxiety and stress. And then
hmm
once you get on testosterone, it
hmm
just reduces that. Men have less of that,
yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, now I feel great." And then a couple years down the line, they're kind of like, "I kind of want to have a kid."
yeah,
And
yeah,
you can't do that anymore.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
there's stuff like that that people don't talk about that like I can show you
can
because I
really
don't know
fuck
the
you up. Yeah,
research, but these people do, and they're
I
like
believe it.
showing up in cliques where like multiple people. The odds of like there being a friend group of like 4 people and all 4 of them go, "We're men." Like I mean that's statistically impossible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Especially
So
like if you're considering, yeah,
and the
I think
social
there's,
aspect is like even at the schools like a lot of people are like praised because one people are too afraid to like speak out against it, and two there's a lot
yeah,
of people that just genuinely do support it. So you get all this moral support, and then
hmm
like out of the school system you kind of lose that, and that's when they realize like shoot, like is this really what I wanted? Like everyone was just kind of praising me, and you're so young and so
yeah.
susceptible to just people being like good decision, way to fight the good fight, you know?
And I think one of the interesting things that's also like, actually, I don't want to say that. Never mind. But
Well, you
one of
should.
the one of the
You
interesting
should.
things though, it was gonna be pretty offensive, but one of the interesting things because you're gonna realize once I say this, uh, that I know I found out with this is that there's actually a pretty significant correlation between falling outside of the gender binary and autism.
Oh, I've seen that
Yeah,
stuff.
and I mean that's definitely like an interesting thing
Well, they're
because
really obsessive, aren't they?
yeah, they are
Like
super obsessive, and
put that like in their head.
and when they like to group things, you know, like
Hmm.
oftentimes, and so they want to put themselves into like a very specific group that defines exactly what they are, and when they find that, then they'll go for it.
Yeah.
So I think that's another thing. Like in terms of like back to the mental health thing, it can be beneficial for them to be able to say like I am, you know, this gender or something like that, because that helps them go into that like that group mindset, that grouping mindset.
Yeah.
And it's annoying as hell, but I mean,
Well, luckily, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head are at the forefront of the battleground,
of
and they're gonna
course.
figure things out. This is
Yep.
a kind of conversation starters.
Yeah, for sure. Um, anyway,
I
so
think it's
I
these
think
corporations doing this stuff for just the smallest, goofiest things.
yeah,
I'm
I
ready
think
for like I want like all the Marvel superheroes to have like their own sects of like nations and like religions. So you have like Jew
uh,
boy Superman or whatever. It's like
what
Israel,
the
and then you have like Saudi Arabia, like Wonder Woman and crap. Like
that'd
now you
be
have like all sorts of different nationalities. Like they're not Captain
wacky.
America. Like there's a million different ones. There's Captain Canada. You
Captain
watch the next
Canada.
like Infinity War, and like a million Captain Americas drop down with their every
Everybody has to be
nation.
included, man.
I think it'd be great. Well,
That'd be
that's
funny.
all they're trying to do. So why don't we just
I think
accelerate it?
I think yeah. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of interesting things to untie with that, but I definitely don't have a conclusive argument towards anything, but I think that there's a lot of information that's important to be set forth before people start talking about this in a legitimate sense.
Yeah, I mean, people just oversimplify it.
Yeah,
no one really like sits down and has this like big conversation that a lot of people want to have, unfortunately. I just like to note really quick, fans in the chat have put potato emoji, eggplant, arrow, peach, a lot of black fists, black child, gender icon, and black square. I just wanted to update people in the chats.
Okay.
I know that we're listening. We love you guys.
I did see that. I didn't really have any comments on it. I'm sorry, Lewis, but
well, we love the chats. They're good.
We love the chat. I'm just not really
Keep them
certain
coming.
What you're trying to do. If you have a question or something, that is a full sentence. I would be happy to talk about it.
And the hieroglyphs.
And also not racist or sexist or anything that's gonna get us canceled. Anyway, so I want to go on from this topic since we don't have much more to say about it, I don't think. Do you got anything else? I mean,
not really.
Yeah. I want to talk about Bitcoin a little bit because I think a lot of people, they got a Bitcoin donor. And
I got two.
People got to be a little bit more timid on Bitcoin. I'm not saying that it's not a good currency, first of all. The problem I have with Bitcoin is that it's kind of a step backwards. I mean, it's a step forward in some senses, but it's not completely a step forward. And in some senses, it's a step backward.
Well, the best thing would be gold standard, of course, because there's like a finite amount.
Yeah, well, that is until Elon Musk starts mining asteroids.
So, we're not there yet. We got a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it might be 50 years out, but 50 years isn't a very long time when you're talking about a currency.
Yeah, that's true. But it'd still be a long time to where I'd imagine there'd be like the mass like mining. You know what I mean? To where like you'd actually notice inflation. Like right now, inflation's what, like 3% every year. I don't imagine you'd have that with the gold standard.
So,
hopefully not.
The main thing I wanted to talk about is a lot of people think that Bitcoin is a totally secure currency. A totally private currency because it's used for drugs a lot. And it's not really the case that it's a very secure or private currency. Everybody's key or wallet key is pretty much public for everybody to see. All of your trades are public. You can see who has done a certain trade. If you know their wallet key, then you can actually just like flip through pretty much all their trades.
Has there been any like information on people being like found out through their keys? Like I heard a long time ago there was some ridiculous like $20 million transaction.
Yeah.
But the person was never found and no one knows what it was.
So,
because like it's not as secure as people think, but there is some security of like, hey, if they don't know your ID.
Yeah. If they don't know your ID, you're safe. Here's the issue though: Bitcoin, as it becomes bigger, the Fed's gonna get in on it.
Fedcoin?
No, I mean they don't even need to do Fedcoin, because the problem is that what's going to end up happening is, for one thing, financial instruments are going to be created in order to assist the Federal Reserve and the IRS with Bitcoin. You are going to have to register your wallet key for Bitcoin eventually, so that the IRS can actually monitor all your trades, and they can tax you for every single transaction that you make.
Not about those taxes.
Yeah, so it's really a step backwards in that sense. It's not a private, by any means, currency. And it will eventually be a pretty big problem where everything that you do is going to be able to be seen by the government, essentially.
Yeah, I talked about this because, like, it's kind of just a matter in, like, which direction does it go? Because there's kind of, like, the utopian vision where it's like, hey, like under the table we're all using like Bitcoin or whatever, like we're having people like send us in donations via Bitcoin so no one's taxed, they don't write it off or whatever. But there's also this like dystopian version where it's like you got to do under the table work and you have to clink your phones and the Fed takes off their 5% when you just want to pay someone like $50, or I'm just like, hey, let me lend you a couple dollars, like it's like tax, like me just lending you some Bitcoin. But isn't like Ethereum like really, like does Ethereum doesn't post it out there, does it? Are there some that don't post it out there? Because I thought there were some.
Monero is one that doesn't post it. I don't think that Ethereum is one that's private.
That's unfortunate.
Mainly because Ethereum is a smart contract currency, right? So in order to do smart contracts, somebody's going to have to know where your money's going.
That's true.
But with Monero, it's pretty much a totally private
it's cool because like crypto can be used for good. It's just people gotta get smart about it. Like you said, a lot of people think Bitcoin's completely secure and anonymous, and it's not, but it could be. there's cryptos that could be.
Yeah. There's a lot of cryptos that we could use that are much better than Bitcoin. And unfortunately, it looks like Bitcoin's going to be the one that's going to be used mainly. But we will still be able to, buy drugs with Monero. So.
That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we take donations in Monero?
In the technocrat age, when we're all running off Bitcoin, the underground currency will be in Monero, not USD.
Monero. Or we're all using gold.
Yeah, gold. I don't know about gold, but yeah. I was talking to my brother about Bitcoin today, or yesterday actually, and he was talking about how he wants a real currency or something like that. And I'm thinking, pretty much the only thing I can say to him at that point is have fun being poor. have fun putting all of your money into a worthless currency that we know as the US dollar, as well as something that will probably be worthless in the next 50 to 200 years, and that's gold. If you put your money in gold and silver, you're gonna lose it all within the next 50 to 200
Peter
years.
Schiff disagrees. A lot of people that disagree.
Yeah, Peter Schiff is such a piece of shit. Well, he's the guy that said that what was it? Aliens would use gold, right?
Aliens would use gold.
Aliens would, yeah. If we're gonna give aliens any type of currency, they're gonna want the heaviest shit that we can give them. They're in a spacecraft, and they're gonna have to put in, they're gonna have to have an acceleration of at least 9.8. Force times mass is equal to acceleration, so they're gonna need, thousands of tons of more upwards momentum to get out of atmosphere, and we're gonna give them, and that's the currency they're gonna want to use.
That's it.
Yeah, fucking right. No,
they probably don't even use currency.
Yeah, exactly. If they use currency, they will not want gold. They'll be like, what's this? What the fuck is this? This shiny fuck? Who gives a shit?
We want Hive tokens, all right?
I'm over gold. I am over gold already. You think aliens aren't over gold?
They're over gold. They're all about. They got their own. They got Bibble coin.
Yeah.
The aliens are already using Fed coin. They're ahead of us.
Aliens are using Fed coin. Yeah.
Even they can't escape the Fed.
No. Aliens are gonna want to harvest our organs or some shit. I don't know. They're gonna want to eat us.
Unfortunately, we eat a lot of things, and imagine they'd want to eat a lot of things.
That's what aliens want. No, they're probably gonna be breathing in methane or some crap. I don't know.
It'd be cool. Have you seen? There was like a film. There was a conspiracy theory with like COVID. I actually was really interested in it. It was so bonkers, no one believed it. But it was like this based on this movie where the aliens would come to Earth and they want to take it over, but they'd come and they'd get killed by like really small diseases that like we're fine with. So like we'd get the common cold and they'd get wiped out. So it's all these things we built up immunity over the decades. So they released some super virus that they're immune to, and all the people have to go indoors and quarantine and stuff like that. And apparently they took over the government or some other like details I'm not including, but everyone like stays in. It clears out all these other diseases that they were like deadly to them but not to humans, and they come in and take over or something. And there's like, this is what's happening with COVID. I'm like, I wish it was. That'd be cool. It'd be interesting.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what the aliens want, so they can take our gold and take Peter Schiff, so we have no more economic knowledge.
Yeah, they're gonna want Peter Schiff. Well, actually, they might want Peter Schiff. Maybe they will want Peter Schiff. They'll eat his organs or something like that.
That's good.
They'll do that whole thing.
I don't know enough about Peter Schiff. He's funny.
All I know about Peter Schiff is he thought that aliens would want gold.
He makes pretty good arguments for like some libertarian values, but I've also seen other stuff where like economically I'm like, you're kind of on the right track, but not exactly. He just likes gold too much. Like I follow him on Instagram because I heard some good minimum wage arguments and some other things and financial markets and trying to stop inflation. I'm like, that's cool. I like guys that do that. I like that he has a voice and stuff. And all he goes on about is gold. I want to listen about gold all day.
That was the dude that made that Wall Street video, right? When we were doing what was it? Occupy Wall Street. Peter Schiff, right?
Yeah. He might have.
I think I remember seeing that video in 2012 or something of him.
Isn't it the one where it's like, I'm the 1% or something?
Yeah, I'm the 1% talking.
I haven't watched it, but I get recommended it all the time.
That dude, what a fucking asshole. He goes over there, oh, capitalism's totally fine. It works all the time. Okay, motherfucker. Did you look at 2008? Did you watch as junk bonds were sold as AAA loans? Are you fucking kidding me? You're telling me that when you're giving out gigantic amounts of ninja mortgages, no income, no job, no income, job, or assets. That's what a ninja loan is. Those were huge in 2008 or in 2007. When you're giving out what was it called? You're giving out mortgages to people that are super poor, which are adjustable interest rate mortgages. So essentially, these people are paying at like 0% interest on their house, and then all of a sudden it shoots up to 10% after a year because like the bank's like, fuck it, 10% interest, why not? These people can pay 10%. These people that are like making $20,000 a year can pay 10% interest on their $500,000 home that we gave them because we're retarded.
Well, what a lot of like libertarian-minded people forget is they'll go and defend capitalism. Yeah. Like Peter Schiff will there, and what they forget to say is like, if capitalism worked perfectly, those banks would have crashed, and everyone would have looked at them and been like, let's not do that because we don't want our bank to crash.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen because they got bailed out. What a lot of people got to distinct from is like we live in like crony capitalism, which is like socialism for the rich and capitalism for the poor, which is the worst possible thing you could do. So the banks screw up, screw everyone else, and you bail out the rich. You don't bail out the poor. Whereas what should have happened under good capitalism, which is what I think Schiff wants. I haven't seen the video, but he's probably just miscommunicating. Or it's what libertarians should want. Is hey, it's just capitalism for everybody. So the banks jack it up. Some people suffer. That's what happens under creative destruction. But the banks are flattened, and now there's this lesson learned where all the other banks are like, shoot, we're not doing that because we're not going under again. Whereas right now, when COVID started happening, we saw the money being spent. It's like, shoot, what's getting bailed out next? You know what I mean? Because we know things are going to get bailed out.
Yeah. And I think that's really what Occupy Wall Street was about. I mean, we're talking about, billion-dollar loans given out to these companies that were doing this like really, really shady shit when it comes to like buying debt and stuff like that.
Well, if it was one of our companies, we would have had to have crashed
mortgage bonds,
but they didn't.
Yeah, and the government just bailed them out, even though they were doing all this shady, like should be illegal shit. Yeah. They even bailed out a company that went out of business afterwards. I think that was AIG, right? AIG, they gave them like a $200 billion bail or something, and they still went out of business because they're a garbage company and they can't pay off their loans. And then
do they have adjustable interest rates on their loans?
Yeah. Well, I think, I don't remember exactly what AIG did. I thought it was an insurance company, but I might be wrong about that.
Well, what if the government was like, hey, we're gonna like lend you guys a bunch of money, and they were all adjustable interest rates, so when all the banks get them, their interest goes up? That'd be funny.
And then I mean, we've got I mean, it's and the even the people that were reviewing the mortgages, these bonds, they said they were AAA bonds, even though they knew that these were low-income houses given adjustable interest rate mortgages on houses that they can't pay off. And and
that's what government's supposed to stop, and it doesn't.
Once they got
all that crooked,
once the elites got the bailout, once the elite CEOs got the bailout, what did they do? They gave themselves a bonus. There was like dozens of CEOs that gave themselves higher ups, corporate businessmen that gave them like $10 million bonuses and stuff after the bailouts. It's like, what the fuck are you? You fucked up. You don't get a bonus when you fuck up.
Well, they did. So crony capitalism.
I don't
so hard to call that trickle down economics.
Yeah.
Sprinkle it down.
Trickle down economics. Yeah. But I mean,
I also watched the Peter Schiff video because I really hope that he makes a distinction of like, hey, if we used actual capitalism, they would have failed and it would have set a precedent, instead of just like, hey guys, this is capitalism and this works fine. That's what a lot of people say. They're like, this is capitalism, this works fine. It's like, dude, do crony capitalism. That's the issue. It's socialism for the rich, capitalism for the poor. It needs to be flat out.
Yeah, my problem with that, I think that is the argument that he makes, but he's ignoring the fact that that's actually kind of what a lot of the
Occupy
people.
is.
That's kind of what a lot of Occupy Wall Street was. Yeah, I mean, like that's pretty much.
Or at the very least, people that don't understand it, but they're like, hey, we
Yeah.
just don't want them to get all the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it's still on the
exactly.
same team. You know, we don't
Yeah.
gotta like get like real nitpicky and be like, you know, you have to go by my terms. It's like, dude, we're on the same team.
I still think a lot of the people that ended up losing their money because of it were total morons for sure. Because they entered that agreement for one thing. They entered an adjustable rate mortgage without a job or income, or at least a sustainable income to pay for a $500,000 house. You can't pay that shit off with a $20,000 a year income, you know? So
they thought they could.
Yeah. Just literally don't be a moron when you're signing up for a mortgage. It's moronic.
Do they get any bailouts?
They don't get bailouts, but I don't think they should because they're stupid.
Yeah, I don't think anyone should. So that's my opinion.
I think
I think we're having a big new COVID stimulus, $2 trillion. I don't think there's any. I think, what is it? It's 1,400 for Americans.
We're getting 1.9 trillion. Yeah, like
that'll beat Trump's. Trump's was like 1.6 trillion, right?
Yeah, but it's
and
only going to specific families too.
For the Americans,
it's only going to specific families. Really, I think it's only like 300 billion of that is actually going to families in America. Which,
that's more than I thought would actually be going to America.
Yeah,
that's way more.
So much of this is just like it's an omnibus bill, pretty much. I mean, they put in the minimum wage increase in it. I don't know if that actually passed through or not, but
what is
I don't
it, 15?
know. Yeah, and I think that there is a reason to say like $15 minimum wage is reasonable, but it has to.
I understand the arguments for it.
Right now, it's a bad time.
Against it.
Right now, it's a really bad time to do it for one thing, even if it's a gradual increase. Like small businesses are hurting way too much right now as it is. Raising the minimum wage $1 is going to like destroy what still exists.
Yeah, because like I understand arguments where like productivity has gone up and the minimum wage hasn't, and inflation's gone up and the minimum wage hasn't. But there's one kind of key issue on a geopolitical level is that like if we raise minimum wage $15, it's going to crush a lot of our smaller businesses. That's just a fact. That's what happens, and we're just going to be buying more stuff from China. So it'll kind of hurt our economy in a way. We need to kind of find like a balance where like, all right, we can still like be paying people more, but that people are buying more American-made stuff. Because there's no point of this if we're going to raise it $15. Everyone works at McDonald's for $15 and then goes home and orders Amazon stuff from China.
Yeah, and
that's kind of
one
the
of the
issue.
things you got to consider is
American-made stuff.
American-made stuff is made today, and I think it's over minimum wage for a lot of it. But it's also really expensive. But when people make more money, they can buy that higher quality American-made material, and that could potentially. But it's also like it's one of those things where it's a lot of goods, you know. Well, I mean, yeah, obviously we know that more money is going to be circulating around the economy as more lower-income people get more money. But there's also like the coulds. Where could that money end up going instead of to America? Could that money end up filling up the pockets of the rich, or is it going to be the small business owners?
I think the reason you see people like Jeff Bezos and a lot of the rich people are very much in favor of $15 minimum wage is because they know they can afford it, but small mom and pop shops, I mean, we see that, especially here in Florida. You see like the siesta key market, and it'd be very hard for them to pay their few employees $15 minimum wage when Walmart's right across the street. You know what I mean? And they're just a super corporation. And I'd rather shop at the siesta key market, and it's hard because they're more expensive, but they're playing at a disadvantage.
Yeah, and I mean, it really sucks like how we're in this state because Amazon's just gonna get a whole lot of that money. Walmart's gonna get a whole lot of that money. The big companies are just gonna keep getting bigger with a raise in the minimum wage, and there's got to be a way to make it work. There's got to be, because like what people are making right now for minimum wage is just unreasonable. Like $7.25.
It's unfortunate because I agree with that, but I still strictly stand against raising minimum wage because I know what that does on like a larger economic level.
Yeah.
So,
and
it's kind of tough. I just think boosting up the economy is the best way. I mean, like middle class families under Trump were making on average $2,000 more, and you were seeing wages like slowly increase. Like a lot of people argue for like maternal leave as like a government law, but under Trump, there weren't always like wage increases, but there were more states like where local businesses would be offering as benefits maternal leave. You know, it wasn't like government enforced. When you government enforce that, you see that in the European countries, they hire women a little bit less because it's like, you know, you have to give them leave. But if you have extra money, sometimes you can offer that as benefits or raise the wages a little bit. I think most of it just comes down to, which isn't easy, just boasting up a big good economy. But that's so difficult, and you don't always know if you can do that. There's luck that goes into that. You know what I mean? Like timing it well. So,
I think one of the questions is, are we okay with Starbucks prices everywhere? At that point,
I got my own espresso machine now, so I got no comment on Starbucks prices.
Me too.
It's great, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. I love having an espresso machine.
And we bought like a nice one, like because there's 3 of us that use it every day. So we're like, screw it. We got like a fancy like $500 one, but we paid it off easy, like because it's like $5, 5 or more, like a Starbucks drink.
Oh yeah,
so it's $15 every single day.
Yep.
So like literally in 1 week, we already spent like $100. Like and milk and flavors are at most $1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we did cost benefit analysis. It's like, dude, in a month we paid off.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I just bought $100 one, and it works like, you know, it's fine.
Yeah, it's great.
I love it, man. I love having an espresso machine.
Do they give it like good pressure? Ours has like a pressure gauge or whatever.
Yeah, mine doesn't have a pressure gauge on it.
I gotcha. That's what I heard the difference, like the pricier ones were, but
interesting.
Because like apparently if you get like a better pressure, it tastes like less bitter. So I don't know.
Interesting. I don't really mind anything tasting bitter, but if you make your espresso right, it shouldn't taste bitter, just regardless. All right. I mean, I'm trying to make this podcast last about an hour because I think we don't have Ellen here.
You're going crazy. You're throwing everything out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't mean to throw everything out, but we've only got about like 14 minutes and stuff. So I'm trying to think of what else should we talk about here?
I say we bring fans on.
I mean, there's only 2 people watching this stream right now. I think it's just you and
really
me.
Nice guy in chat.
Yeah, Lewis hasn't said anything. I think he's left.
He's left.
But what else? I did want to do a bit at the end of every month, and so I guess we'd be starting it now. But we wouldn't actually be doing it this time. But I'd kind of like to do a end of the month book review. And I kind of want to throw that idea out.
I want to toss this to you. I just got a laptop recently, so I'm going to have a lot more I want to program a little bit more. I'm thinking of trying to program up like a website.
That'd be fun.
And personally for me, I want to write some book reviews on it. I don't want it to I'm not like arrogant, like I thought I'm going to post some big like news or review site, but I was kind of thinking like, I'd like to post some pretty like in-depth reviews, like writing and stuff. It'll be a while out because right now I got a lot of like scholarship and college stuff I gotta write, so I got a lot of like general writing that needs done. But maybe like 2-3 weeks out, I was thinking like, shoot, let's get like you and Ellenberger on there, and like let's all, if we got book reviews or if we see a news article we want to write about, like I don't know, it sounds kind of cool. Just like not exactly like a news thing, but just kind of like, why not throw our opinions on there, right?
Yeah,
there's some writing that's just, I enjoy it. I know you do too.
Yeah, I do love writing. I haven't been doing enough of it this year, unfortunately.
I was just reading a good book. Where is it?
Yeah.
Is it around here? And I was like, I kind of want to write a review.
12 Rules to Life by Jordan Peterson.
No. I ordered the next one. I'm interested in his next one. I'm not going to act like I hate him. So the next one has the lobster. Yeah, I like rule number 1 in the next one is respect the lobster. I'm reading this, The Coddling of the American Mind.
Okay.
It's really good. It's really nuanced.
Sounds very Jungian.
It's more lefty, but not really. I mean, like, it's the 2 guys are probably like more lefties, but they talk a lot about this like cancel culture on college campuses, and actually how it more like affects the moderate like liberal types. Those overall have been canceled even more, and a lot of the like mindsets that are being taught to young children that then influence these giant like kind of campus-wide illogical groupthink.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's a really in-depth analysis, like what's been going on in like the home level with anxiety and depression going up, and how you get. It talks about like the 3 great untruths that people are like believing. They're not saying it, but they're believing it, and it's saying that what doesn't kill you makes you weaker. That you should always trust your feelings, and that the life is the battle between good and evil people. And this is how people justify a lot of their crazy actions. They're like, "You're evil, we're good." and what you're going to say is going to make us weaker and
Yeah,
harm us, and all these other sort of
for sure.
untruths that they haven't been taught, that instinctively we have been taught in the past, but through certain people being more scared to let their children play outside and other stuff like that is kind of harming the generation. So really great analysis of all this stuff. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I've always been one of those people that really try to look at both sides of the coin for a lot of things, and that's probably to my own detriment. Because like I mean that even extends to like racism. I try to understand like why people are racist,
No, it's
and I
good
mean
too.
I think it is good too because I think it is good to understand like
Listen to Daryl
why,
Davison. He was
like
the black
understand.
guy.
Yeah, I mean I think there's a lot of people that are hurt and they attach that like by other people and they attach that to a specific race, and I think that one of those ways that that happens is actually in prison oftentimes, like the Aryan Brotherhood. There's you've got a lot of gangs in prisons, and the Aryan Brotherhood it pretty much indoctrinates you as a white guy to become like a super racist because
Yeah.
they give you protection so long as you're racist with them, and that ends
Yeah.
up turning a lot of people once they get out of prison into like super racist, and they're like, oh, black people, they all like steal and they're like, they're n-words and stuff like that. And then
They
it's
all
like
steal.
and it's like, hey, idiot, guess who else was in prison?
Yeah, you should look at Daryl Davison because he's a
Yeah,
black guy and he talked about like accidentally converting a bunch of Klansmen to just like normal people.
that's
Because he
interesting.
just
Yeah,
because like as a kid he'd always be like, why do they hate me? And like as an
yeah.
adult he was like, I'm just gonna go hang out with them. But what he talks about is there's a lot of this like socioeconomic and like political thing that goes on to
Hmm.
where like they prey on a lot of like men maybe like lose their job or fall on hard times and they kind
Yeah,
of have this power and they'll go and they'll be like, hey, like we know you're struggling, here's some food, for the family or whatever. And as a guy you're like, hey, thanks so much. And like, we're having a meeting, we help other people out, you come, it's all chill, and you're like, all right, this is good. And you show up to the next meeting, they're like, here's your robe, and then they're burning black people. And it's like they kind of just like suck you
yeah,
into it because they'll give you stuff and give you opportunities. And sometimes this is obviously way back when, but like sometimes the cops would be in on it and stuff. Daryl
yeah.
talks a lot about that. It's great, you got to listen to him.
That
Like I said,
sounds interesting.
sometimes
Yeah.
because he is a guy that really wanted to look at the other side. He'd always talk to them and be
Hmm.
like, he'd be riding in a car with someone, and the
Hmm.
person would be like, "You're inferior," and he's like, "I just want to hear why." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Whatever." He's like, "I just want to hang out. I just want to see why." So,
Oh,
really open-minded.
I'm getting a phone call here from Nick. Yo, are you on the podcast right now? I can put you on speaker. Do you want me to? Okay. 1 second.
So it's just me. I'm just letting you know, Proctor, you're muted, just so in case you didn't know. Okay.
really sorry about that.
As long as it's important, I suppose.
Kind of sucks, but it happens, I guess. Need to take that call, but anyway, yeah, I guess we'll go over 3 minutes more than I was initially planning because of that. That's my bad. That kind of ruined the whole flow of the podcast, but I think we're the only people actually watching this, so I don't think it matters too much. Anyway,
you could probably go edit it out like after.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, Daryl something, right?
Daryl Davison.
Daryl Davison. Yeah, I mean, like,
he's a good guy. He really wanted to just understand people and see both sides.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's definitely like having that little bit of understanding is really crucial to actually destroying racism, and canceling people and calling them racist. It really just, I think it leads them deeper into their hole. I don't think people become on racist because they're scared of being racist. I think
if you cancel someone, someone nefarious might offer them power or give them an opportunity or something like that.
I don't think you stop being racist because you're scared of being racist, right?
Or once you're silenced.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're scared of being racist, then that doesn't really change your mind on anything.
You're just gonna be quiet about it.
Yeah, exactly. You're still gonna think that black people are bad. I mean, and that's the unfortunate truth of that. I mean, these colleges are just morons when it comes to this, because they
don't let people speak. That's the issue, is you got to speak this stuff out.
Yeah, and I mean, like, there's a sign up in my college that's so moronic. It says tolerating racism is racism. And no, tolerating racism is a step towards getting rid of racism. And I think that's the most crucial thing to keep in mind. I mean,
tolerating, probably say more so like tolerating like a racist, because like still at the end of the day they're like a human, you know what I mean? Not like the act that they're doing, but the person themselves. It's fine to tolerate that, because you can redeem people, show them the right way.
Yeah, for
sure. Like, hey, maybe we shouldn't burn people. I don't want to be burned. You don't want to be burned.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a good first step we can work with.
Yeah, for sure.
How's your college? Your college super hippie?
No, my college is, like, honestly pretty conservative for the most part. I mean,
that's
there's
cool.
but all colleges have, like, this kind of, college agenda that all colleges follow. And regardless of whether or not the teachers, like all of the teachers ask for your pronouns at the beginning of the class, and that's every single college pretty much.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't had any of that personally, but I just go to, like, I don't go to a university yet, I go to, like, a community college.
Yeah, I think that they get scholarships from certain places when the college is big or the university is big enough. That's part of the reason why there's literally no campuses you can smoke on, because all these anti-smoking lobbies give them grants funded by the government, and it's all total bullshit. But it's the way the life is. So.
That would be. Well, we hit the limit.
No, we've got like 2.5 minutes left, and we can go on for like 3 more minutes since I got that.
It's kind of awkward because I was gonna be like perfect ending. I was gonna be like, by this, but we can keep going. Okay, but we should do an end of the month book review. I feel like that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. And I mean, if you want to, because I told you to read Zorba the Greek, and
I ordered it, by the way.
If you think that we could finish that up by the end of the month, and then
how many pages is it?
I do kind of want. I got it right here.
Is it like
we can try to get? It's something like 300, yeah.
Okay, we'll see. I got a book I want to read before that, but I think I could probably wedge it at the end of this month. Because I got spring break coming up. I could like a binge read over spring break.
Okay, yeah. And
get done a month.
If you read it in the span of like the entire month, it's about like 10 pages a day. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I got another book I was gonna read like before that, and then I'll try and do Zorba. So it'll be me doing like 2 books in a month, but that should be fine. That's about the pace I can go at. So.
Yeah, we're gonna probably. I do want to ask Ellen first, and it kind of sucks that Ellen's not in the podcast
He's
today.
Here in
but
spirit.
Yeah, I mean it happens. He's got a big like homework assignment due, so.
Mr. Park.
Totally understand. Yeah. Mr. Parr. Let's go ahead and dox him. Yeah.
Well, what did anyone want to do with him?
I don't know.
There's at least 12 of him. He's not here.
Yeah.
His face isn't posted.
I guess so, but people know we live in Indiana, so he's not a hard guy to find.
Fair enough.
But yeah. Anyway, so I guess we can go ahead and end the stream here.
I feel like it's a good time too.
This is a good time to end the stream.
I can look forward to a book review in the future.
Yeah, end of next month probably. I did want to say
Probably
Black
on
History Month is so ironically racist. It's dumb, the dumbest thing in the world. This is the end of Black History Month finally, because it's the most moronic thing. It's like, okay, the whole year we get. I'm probably stealing some comedians.
Joe Davison talks about this.
Yeah,
he's
I mean,
against Black History Month.
The whole year,
I know what you're gonna say.
Except for 1 month, we talk about white guys in history, and then we choose this one little slice of the year, this 1/12 slice, to talk about black people, and that's their time. That's their time in the spotlight. We get the rest of the year. It's a trade-off.
Even like spends the whole month. This guy like the first few days and the first last days.
Yeah, and it's the dumbest thing in the world. I don't understand it. I don't like. Fuck school. Fuck schools. These guys are so
everyone
fucking
chooses
stupid.
enough to have like a talk about it. Like they're like, maybe we shouldn't have Black History Month. Everyone like freaks out, and it's like, no, we want more. We want it to all be one. We just want American history. That's it.
Yeah. What do you mean you don't want Black History Month? Does that mean that you just don't like black people? No. How about black people are also a part of history, and we just do them with his like regular white people history?
Lefties implode. Never thought of that.
But anyway, yeah. So anyway, have a good night, everybody. The two people that are watching this podcast.
Wait, any more chats? No more chats.
No more chats. No more
caught
chats.
Up for one time.
We're caught up. All right. Peace out.
Good night.
Night. I think that was a pretty decent podcast.